single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Hey everybody, Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations. This is Mike's 69 Charger. We got a new hood coming for it. We're going to switch out his doors. We're going to strip those fenders. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done to this car. He already had the quarters put on it and a roof put on it, but the doors don't fit and they won't go forward anymore. I'll show you that in a minute. And he's put a lot of money into this car, and he trusted me enough to send it from Colorado all the way to North Carolina for me to get this car straight. He saw me the one that I did for Petty's Garage, the blue and white one, and we put new fenders, doors, roof, hood, trunk floor, trunk drop downs, quarter panels, you name it. It's gotten, the whole car is brand new. So he saw that on Instagram, sent me his car from Colorado. And we're fitting up the end caps in the trunk lid, making sure we're getting the gaps. And I don't have the bolts right now, or the nuts for those just yet, so that's why we're taping them up. But let's go over this in detail. This one's fitting pretty good where the molding would go. It's got a nice line across. I got a nice gap right there. It fits pretty good up here. This is typical. Usually you just have to cut that and round it off correctly. But then you get to this point here, and that's not correct. So this quarter panel needs to get moved out and then possibly moved back. Also, this line is a little bit off. It gets a lot wider, but it lines up really good here. I mean, this could probably come out just a little bit to make a wider gap there, but there's a really wide gap here, so it's telling me that the tail pan needs to come up, because if you look at this, how it was on the other side where this lip was actually meeting that lip, and it's pretty close here, so that means either this quarter panel needs to go in, but obviously it can't. Tail pan might have to be shifted over a little bit, but that gap looks really good, just like you saw, and it's pretty level until you get to this side over here where the trunk lid doesn't fit to the quarter panel. It fits pretty decent up here, but not over here and not there. And it fits pretty flush over here, not terrible. So we got to do something about that quarter panel and this tail pan to make sure that molding fits. This is why you fit all of your panels, quarter panels, end caps, bumper, trunk lid, moldings. You fit everything before you weld anything up. And that there should have never been put together like that. Or if you had to, because basically you got to cut this piece here, move that out, and put another piece in, which is, I've had to do that before. That's just the way I think those are made. And you got the holes that line up really good there, but they're reamed out up here quite a bit. So either this side here is too low, or that side over there is still too high, or vice versa. We just have to figure it out. We just have these taped up in here because we don't have the nuts for them, but as you can tell, we got to do a little bit of reworking of this quarter panel just to match up with the end caps, because I have good gaps here and up here and good there, but the rest of it just needs a little bit of working. I got a nice gap here, and we'll check this trunk lid real quick, and we have a nice gap all the way down on that side. Hey everybody, Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations. Today we worked on the 69 Charger. What we had to do here, because the door was actually touching the quarter panel and we couldn't move the door forward anymore because it lines up perfectly with the rocker up here. So what we had to do is we had to cut the quarter panel all the way down here, move this back, tack weld it, and then weld it up solid with the Hobart welder. Now I don't like doing that, but they are already brand new quarters that somebody already put on, and we're fixing some challenges we're having with it. So that's one way to fix that challenge there. And so now we have a pretty nice gap. I did also have to grind the door just a little bit because the door is a little bit tight here. So we ground the door and we move that piece back. So now all we have to do is wire wheel or sandblast where we welded, and then put a little bit of fiberglass in there, and that part of the quarter panel is done. We did the same thing on the driver's side. We do have to fix a spot here, and there's a couple dents that we're going to need to fix. That other door is actually pretty much all set. That was going to be my secret project that you guys might have seen earlier in earlier videos. It was going to be the sign for my shop, but now it's a door for this 69 Charger, and that one's pretty much done. So that one's almost ready for paint. Today we're working on the 69 Charger, and as you can see, we welded up the quarter panel because we had to cut that part of the quarter panel here and move it back so we can get our gap. Because before, if you look back in the pictures, this was touching, and now we have a pretty good gap all the way down. It's a little bit tight right in here. We'll just trim it on the door a little bit. And we gotta fix this rust hole anyway. And then we'll make a patch for here for that seam. We did this side and we did the other side. We'll show you that in a minute. Alright, so here's the finished product on the passenger side. We actually ground that lip off just a little bit here to open that gap up a little bit. We ground up in here a little bit also to get that. Again, all we have to do is make a patch for here, make a patch for here. We'll fine tune that grind in there. And here we'll go to the other side real quick. Show you what the other side looks like. And there's that one. We'll take this tape off. And there you have it. And we replaced that rusty piece there and that rusty piece there. As you can see, what we did is we took the piece from the original door he had, which is over here, cut that piece out, then we cut it to fit. So this way we kept the body lines, and we also kept the lip. Got to do a little more grinding right there, and ready to go. Before we even epoxy this, we're going to use this Glazeret 360-4 metal cleaner with a Scotch pad, and then we'll go over it with some 900 to get that off, and then we'll epoxy it. We got the quarter panels epoxied for the 69 Charger, and those are looking pretty sweet. There was some rust under the E-coat, which is why I'm glad we sanded them down to bare metal and re-epoxied them. A lot of people have been asking me what I use to put on the bare metal. So my first step, what I do is after I blow it off, I'll use this 360-4 metal cleaner. I'll bring that up so you can see it by Glazeret. And you can just wipe it on and then wipe it off. But what I like to do when I use that is I like to use a red Scotch pad, so I kind of get in all the cracks and crevices, and if there's any dents or what have you, I like to use that. Now make sure when you're using it, you have a respirator and some gloves, because this stuff's pretty potent, it's pretty strong. And then after I use that, I'll go over it with Pre-Cleano, which is a wax and grease remover. Also, it's RM Pre-Cleano. I'll use that, wipe that on, wipe that off, and then I'll put my RM epoxy on it with my Soda Jet spray gun. So that's basically what I would do with that. So hope that helped everybody out. Hey everybody, Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations in Asheboro, North Carolina. Working on the 69 Charger again today. First tool you need is your coffee and your AMD hoodie. That's for sure. Now, after you spread your body filler, what you got to do is get these lines out. Try and get these lines as small as possible. You don't want to have thick lines to try and get those out. It just takes too long. So there's a couple ways you can do it. You can use your airboard. This one here I got from Mac Tools. Works really, really well with the cling sport paper. You can use that. Or if you feel really comfortable, you can use your snap-on 8-inch. And this is a fine rotary one. It's not like the usual mud hogs. So it's really fine. It won't dig too quickly and make gouge marks in it. And the most important tool you need is a dust mask when you're doing all this stuff. So we'll move important tool number 1 over here. Then we'll put our dust mask on, and I'll just use the airboard real quick. As you can see, it starts filing down those lines pretty good. Takes a little bit. I'm only using 80. I don't like using 40 grit because it really digs in there. Then I'll have to put another skim coat on. I've already put a coat on it once, so this is my second coat. Now, if you feel comfortable enough to use this, you can do that. But you have to be extra careful for this because you can make dig marks in it wherever you go. So key thing is, make sure you keep that flat. Now you notice I don't have it wide open because it'll cut it pretty quick. And all you're doing with that is you're just getting these lines out with that. And then what you can do is you can use the smaller block. You can use your longer block. I use the Hutchins blocks. I know there's other really good blocks out there, like Big Kid blocks, Lucky Matt's blocks. There's a bunch of other blocks out there that are really, really good. These are just the ones that I've been used to. This is just what I use. And I also use these foam ones just for the contours. They seem to work really, really good for the contours, and you can always fine tune it with that anyway. So that's basically what I do when I'm doing my body work. Here's the 69 Charger, all taped up, ready for primer. We did that body work yesterday. Taped it up this morning, and we'll get it ready for primer, get it primed up here pretty soon. Stay tuned.